Welcome to D Holloway's Midlife Takeover, where it's never too late to pursue life on your own terms and your own time because you absolutely deserve it. All right, so I wanted to make this video to talk a little bit about gratitude. And we all tend to look at our situation sometimes and we start to think that it's not enough because we look at what other people are doing and we look at what other people might be showing us and we say, hey man, my situation is not enough. Now, some of us are far more extreme at this than others, but I will have to say this though. I am a self-admitted ungrateful bastard at times because sometimes I may look at my situation and think that it's not enough, and in reality, I'm pretty fortunate. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why I think that I'm an ungrateful bastard. So I want to preface this. I'm primarily talking about being ungrateful with regard to financial circumstances, but this can actually apply to all other facets of life. So I come from humble beginnings. As I mentioned in some other videos, I grew up poor in the country and everybody around me was poor, so it really didn't matter. I grew up in a good neighborhood of people who had each other's back and looked after each other. So my childhood was actually good. It could have been a lot worse. So you go out into the world, you grind hard, and you start to achieve a certain level of success. Now, I'm not talking about Mark Zuckerberg's success or anything like that, or Elon Musk's success. I'm talking about above average, above normal people's success. Let's say you enter that top 10% of earners in the US or top 5%, and then your net worth starts to grow and you get into that top 10% or top 5% of net worth status in America. After each step up the ladder of success from being broke, you start to not respect the previous steps because your current status starts to feel like the norm, and you start to look around you and see what other people are doing, see what other people have, and you start to become a little ungrateful about the current situation that you have. And that situation may not be all bad. It may be a very good situation, but because you're looking at what other people are doing, you develop that ungrateful attitude. So my first job out of college, I made $23,000 a year. Now, truth be told, even back then, I thought that was some bullshit. I thought I should have been making a lot more, but that was the situation I was in. But as I grinded throughout my career, that went from 23 to 25 to 30 to 40 to 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, all the way up to $200,000 a year. Even years ago, when I was making about $150,000 to $170,000 a year, and I would tell my wife that we're poor. And keep in mind, my wife was working a full-time job at the same time. My wife would always say, "You are absolutely crazy and you're being ungrateful. God is going to strike you down and take everything from you because you're being absolutely ungrateful for the situation that you're in. And there are a lot of people out there who would die to be in your situation." She would always say, "Our kids are great. They don't do anything crazy. We live in a nice home that's very affordable in a nice community. We have money in the bank. We own investments. We take multiple trips per year. And I don't know why you're complaining because you're not going to spend money on anything anyway." Truth be told, I never really meant that we were poor because that would be just disrespectful. I came from being poor, so I know what poor is. I was simply just being ungrateful for the current situation that I was in because I was looking around and seeing what other people are doing around me, what other people have, and I looked at my current situation. It became the norm for me, and I just felt like, hey, I could be doing so much more. And I wasn't being grateful for the situation that I currently was in because my issues had changed. My issues were no longer $1,000 issues. My issues had become $10,000 to $15,000 issues. If a $1,000 issue popped up, I would be like, man, that's unfortunate. I hate that happened. But I would pay that $1,000 bill and move on with life. My issues now became, hey, if something were to be $10,000 or $15,000, for example, if a rehab project that I was working on, we incurred some additional expenses that I wasn't expecting, and now that was $10,000 or $15,000 over. Yeah, that type of stuff got my attention and got me really thinking and got my stomach, turning a little bit. But $1,000 issue, nah. I was reading an article where it was talking about the median emergency savings account for the average American was like less than $1,000. Now, here I am saying that I'm poor and complaining with $100,000 in the bank, just sitting there for emergency purposes. Now, to a rich person, that is nothing. It's just like a drop in the bucket. That's something they'd spend on a car. But for the average American, that is, something that they would be like dying to have. So while I was just saying it in jest that we were poor, I was really exercising being ungrateful because, again, this is on top of having rental property, retirement account investments, and so forth. So I was just being ungrateful. The moral of the story is that at different stages of wealth, man, they're all relative because they're going to be people that are doing much better than you, and there are going to be far more people who are doing way worse than you, especially if you have even just achieved a certain level of a success that is just above normal, because there are going to be so many more people who are going to be below that threshold. You really need to be grateful for the success that God has blessed you with, or the abilities that you've been given, or the opportunities that you've been given to achieve that success. Because I'm going to be honest with you that a lot of times your circumstances of just where you were born or who you were born to can have a lot to do with your success. So we're talking about shit that you didn't even have nothing to do with that plays a significant role in whether you have certain levels of financial success or you don't. I mean, take me for example. I happen to be born to a two-parent household, and my parents were good people. They were hard-working people. They taught us work ethic. They taught us how to behave. They taught us how to go out into the world and take care of yourself. And these were not college-educated people, and they were no financial geniuses. Like I mentioned, we were poor. But they taught us how to make what you have stretch, and they gave us that work ethic to go out there and grind for it. So my two oldest brothers happened to go to college, and I saw that. Now, without any urging or pushing or anything like that, I just happened to see that, hey, these two dudes went to college and have started careers. Hell, why can't I do that? They're from the same household that I grew up in. So a lot of times, your circumstances and the people that you just happen to be placed around can have a lot to do with how you turn out. And that's not something that you did on your own. I live a real life. It's not a facade. It's not meant to impress. And I promise you that it likely does not impress many people because I live a pretty mundane life. We have to start appreciating the situations that we are in, especially if you've achieved a certain level of success. We have to learn to be grateful for the things that we've achieved, the opportunities that we've been given, and the opportunities that we have to continue achieving. Because being ungrateful gets you nothing. And being grateful actually has certain benefits to it. For example, lower stress and better sleep. Because you're not trying to keep up with the Joneses, man, your mind is not clouded with all this extra stuff that you're worried about of what I got to do to get this extra stuff. You're able to relax more. People who are grateful tend to have higher self-esteem, and they're more patient, and they become more socially aware because once you're grateful about your situation, it allows you to empathize and look at, hey, what are the decisions that I'm making in my life that may be hurting other people, or the decisions and things that I'm doing in my life that are helping other people. And once you see that, then you're able to stop doing the things that hurt people and focus on the things that can help other people who can then become grateful about their situation. Look, the median household income in the US is around $75,000. Now, if you happen to be making 3 to 4 times the median household income in the US, you should be extremely grateful for that situation. Now, if you are making 3 to 4 times the median household income and you're still broke, then your ass deserves to be broke. But what you don't deserve is the right to be able to complain and be ungrateful. I'm going to continue practicing being grateful because, like I mentioned before, I know that the situation can be very different. And I've been blessed that in my lifetime, I've lived a pretty drama-free life. And that goes all the way back to my childhood, which, was wonderful. So I cannot complain about where I'm at in life. If I did, I would just be continuing to be an ungrateful bastard. But don't get it twisted. There are still things that I want to achieve, and I still have goals that I'm going after. But I don't have to be ungrateful about where I'm at and just totally forget about the steps that I took to get here. So I just want to leave you with that message. Anyway, what I need you guys to do is take care of yourselves and be safe out here in these social media streets.